Our world is always moving. You cannot feel it, but right now, you are on a great journey. Earth, our home in the vastness of space, is spinning. It turns like a giant top, completing one full spin every day. This spin is very important. It gives us our day and our night. When one side of Earth faces the sun, it is daytime. We get light and warmth. When that side turns away from the sun, it becomes night. The stars come out and the world rests. This simple, steady turning is the rhythm of our lives. It has been happening for billions of years, a constant dance in the cosmos. Imagine a carousel at a park. It goes around and around. The Earth is like that, but much, much bigger. Everything on our planet is part of this spin. The air we breathe, the water in the oceans, and every living thing are all carried along for the ride. We don't fly off into space because of gravity. Gravity is a force that pulls everything toward the center of the Earth. It acts like a giant invisible seatbelt, keeping us safely attached to our spinning world. This balance between spinning and gravity creates the world we know and love, a stable place for life to flourish. This daily rotation is a fundamental part of our existence. It affects the winds and the ocean currents. The spin helps move warm air from the equator to the colder parts of the planet. It also helps move cool air to the warmer parts. This movement of air creates our weather patterns. Without this constant turning, the world would be a very different place. The sun would bake one side of the planet, while the other side would be frozen in darkness. The steady spin creates a balanced climate where life, as we know it, can exist in harmony with its environment. So this spin is more than just a way to count the days. It is a life-giving engine for our planet. It dictates the cycles of waking and sleeping for countless creatures. It drives the great currents in the sea that carry nutrients to marine life. It powers the winds that carry seeds to new lands. The Earth's rotation is a silent, powerful force that shapes every moment of our lives. We are all passengers on this cosmic voyage, held snugly to a world that spins with perfect, life-sustaining regularity through the dark and quiet of space. How fast is our Earth really spinning? The speed is incredible. If you are standing at the equator, the widest part of the Earth, you are moving at about 1,000 miles per hour. That is faster than most airplanes fly. Think about that. You are traveling faster than a jet plane, just by standing still. You don't feel this speed because everything around you is moving at the same speed. The ground, the trees, the buildings, and even the air are all moving together with you. It is like being inside a very smooth car on a highway. You only notice the speed if you look out the window. Let's use another example to understand this speed. Imagine you are on a very fast train. As long as the train moves smoothly, you can walk around inside it without any problem. You can pour a drink, and the water goes straight into the glass. But what would happen if that train suddenly slammed on its brakes? You, and everything else not bolted down, would fly forward. This is because of something called inertia. Inertia is the tendency for things to keep moving in the same direction and at the same speed. Your body wants to keep going forward, even when the train has stopped. The same idea applies to our planet. Everything on Earth has inertia. Our bodies, the oceans, and the atmosphere all have a massive amount of forward momentum because they are traveling at 1,000 miles per hour with the Earth. This momentum is enormous. The entire planet's surface is in a state of high-speed motion. We have evolved in this environment, so it feels completely normal to us. Our bodies are used to this constant speed, but the energy of this motion is immense, a hidden power that we are completely unaware of in our daily lives. This cosmic speed is a gift. It allows for the predictable cycle of day and night to happen quickly enough that no part of the planet gets too hot or too cold for too long. If the Earth spun much slower, our days would be scorching hot, and our nights would be freezing cold. The speed is just right. It's a key ingredient in the recipe for a habitable planet. We are all cosmic travelers, hurtling through space on our planetary spaceship, perfectly adapted to a speed we can't even perceive, but which is essential for our survival. Now, let's imagine the impossible. What if the Earth, spinning at 1,000 miles per hour, suddenly hit the brakes? What if the solid ground beneath our feet came to a complete and instant stop? Because of inertia, everything not firmly attached to the bedrock of the planet would continue moving. Every person, animal, tree, and building would be launched sideways. We would all be swept off our feet and sent flying eastward at over 1,000 miles per hour. It would be the most destructive event imaginable, a planetary-scale disaster that would scour the surface clean. The scene would be one of absolute chaos. Buildings would be ripped from their foundations and torn into pieces. Forests would be flattened in an instant, the trees snapped like twigs. People and animals would become projectiles, tumbling across the landscape at supersonic speeds. Nothing would survive this initial devastating jolt. The force would be so great that it would create a global shockwave. The very surface of the Earth would be scraped clean of everything that humankind has ever built and everything that nature has ever grown. It would be an extinction event on a scale never seen before. And what about the oceans? The water in the seas and oceans would also keep moving. Giant tsunamis, thousands of feet high, would wash over the continents. These waves would travel at incredible speeds, carrying the destructive force of the planet's momentum with them. They would surge across the land, wiping out anything that might have survived the initial shock. The entire globe would be engulfed by water, as the oceans sloshed out of their basins and covered the now still continents. The world would become a churning, chaotic water world for a time. The atmosphere, the very air we breathe, would also continue its journey. This would create winds faster than any hurricane ever recorded. These hyper-hurricanes would circle the globe, eroding the rock of the mountains and creating friction so intense that it would spark massive firestorms. The sky itself would become a deadly force. The division between land, sea, and air would blur into a single violent storm of unimaginable power. In just a few moments, the world as we know it would be erased, replaced by a landscape of utter devastation and ruin. After the initial catastrophe, what kind of world would be left? If the Earth stopped spinning, one side would face the sun forever, and the other would be locked in eternal night. The side facing the sun would become incredibly hot. The oceans would boil away, and the land would become a scorched, lifeless desert hotter than anything we can imagine. All the water from this hot side would evaporate and travel to the cold side. The planet would be permanently divided into two extreme zones, one of fire and one of ice. Life could not exist in either place. On the dark side, the opposite would happen. This half of the planet would be plunged into a deep permanent freeze. Without any sunlight, temperatures would drop to hundreds of degrees below zero. The water vapor carried by the winds from the hot side would freeze and fall as snow. Over thousands of years, immense glaciers would form, covering the entire dark hemisphere in a thick sheet of ice. A new ice age would begin on one side of the planet, while the other side burned under the relentless gaze of the sun. This would be a planet of two faces, both equally hostile to life. The Earth's shape would also change. The spin of our planet causes it to bulge slightly at the equator. If the spinning stopped, gravity would pull the Earth back into a perfect sphere. This would cause the oceans, now settled, to move. The water from the equator would flow toward the poles, creating a single massive supercontinent around the planet's middle and two giant polar oceans. The map of the world would be completely redrawn, not with countries and cities, but with a simple band of dry land separating two vast, dark seas. So, let's be thankful for our planet's constant, gentle spin. This simple motion, which we never even feel, is the guardian of our world's stability. It keeps our climate balanced, it gives us the familiar rhythm of day and night, and it makes our planet a comfortable and safe home. The Earth's rotation is a quiet miracle, a cosmic ballet that allows us to live, dream, and explore the universe. We are lucky to live on a world that just keeps spinning, smoothly and reliably, on its journey through space-time.